Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Vikings Uncovered, part of the Undroppables Network. I am the RabbitDad. I am your host, and I'm happy to be back here with you. So let's just get this out of the way. So the Vikings lost week 5, like week 6, week 7. The Vikings just lost their last game, and yeah, that was a crap call at the end of the game. But we're not going to deal into that. It's already been touched. It's already been talked about. I'm not going to pound that nail anymore than we have to. Um, And the big factor outside of that of the game was the fact that they had Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, which is I didn't think Nacua was back for it. So it changed the game plan. I feel like the Vikings probably didn't prepare enough for that. But anyway, so the defensive side of the ball, they weren't showing off that versatility. They weren't. I mean, we got 0 sacks. Only hit the quarterback twice. Got an interception, but it just wasn't good. The defense looked tired. They did. By the second half, it was a mess. It's I yeah, it wasn't pretty. Um, it the defense needs to do what they've been doing. We can't have a game with no sacks. We can't. We have to pressure the quarterback, especially against an offensive line who shouldn't have been up to snuff. They were, probably played their best game as a team. The offensive line did all year. Vikings just couldn't get in there, couldn't get to the quarterback. Like I said, 0 sacks, only hit the quarterback twice. But it's unfortunate, and we'll talk about some of we had 4 different players that were in on all the snaps. That was Pace, Smith, Murphy, and Van Ginkel. Again, we had no Cashman, and there's guys that are not getting into the play, like Grugier Hill. I mean, yeah, he's a secondary player in the linebacker group, but I feel like with what he did when Pace was out, he needs to have more playing time, especially when we're missing other players. But like I said, Pace played all the snaps, led the team with 13 tackles. Harrison Smith played all the snaps. He had 8 tackles. Byron Murphy played all the snaps, which was just it was evident from the fact that the Rams were out there using so many different wide receivers in so many different aspects. I mean, granted, yeah, Puka and Kupp, they did their thing. They only each played a little more than half the snaps. But the fact that they had so many people, so many wide receivers out there so often, it led to Murphy playing more. But then Griffin only had 35% of the. I don't know. Maybe he got nicked up. Maybe he was out. I didn't catch that part. Maybe that was it. And then Van Ginkel, 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. But again, I'm gonna say it over and over again. 0 sacks is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So hopefully with this extra time off in the little mini bye, Flores has gotten some time to take care of some issues. And we're still not going to have Cashman this week, so there's that too. And then I want to also talk about so Jared Verse from the Rams, he was in there. He had 1.5 sacks. He was making plays. He was their first round rookie defensive draft pick. Where was our guy, Dallas Turner? 3 plays. Doesn't make sense. Must have been in a doghouse or something. I don't know. Let's just move on to offense because I'm tired of talking the defense part. Well, first we'll talk about what the things that we've heard from KOC over the last few days, last week and change. You could definitely tell a difference in his demeanor between when he was doing right after the game press conference to Friday's press conference. I mean, he said, we're not gonna dwell on that play. It's unfortunate it happens. We can't let it come down to that. He was absolutely pissed off. You could tell from his attitude. I can't remember the last time I saw him so down during a press conference. He was just a totally different KOC. But I mean, I can understand it too. I mean, personally, when I was watching the game, I turned it off right after that play, after that sack in the end zone, and I didn't even know about it, the face matching thing, till the next day. So I'd probably benefit mentally from that. I had a decent, okay night's sleep that night. It would have been absolutely horrible had I seen that. So sometimes you just got to turn it off. But yeah. But the press conference on Friday, he absolutely backed in the optimistic old Kevin O'Connell. So he's ready for the next game. I'm sure all the players are. Like I said, still no Blake Cashman. Still dealing with that turf toe. I know it's unfortunate, but maybe we'll get him back next week. Fingers crossed. Big trade news too, as I'm sure most of you know. Vikings acquired a new tackle after we lost Darisaw for the season. Cam Robinson from the Jaguars. I forgot to look up how many times. I know he's been an All-Pro. He's very good. He's not Darisaw, and this is clearly a rental play. This is a sign that the Vikings believe that they have this window right now to go for it, to push all the chips into the table, and go for it. Make it. Take the division, get into the playoffs, take the division, take the conference, Super Bowl. Why not? The offense is cooking most of the time. The defense, well, yeah, the last couple of weeks has been a little less than. It's still really good overall. We're still got tons of sacks. The defense, they make plays, turnovers. We just need to get back to playing football like we did before the bye week, plain and simple, on the defensive side. But yeah, I like Cam Robinson. Like I said, rental kind of player. You know, probably he's a free agent, I believe, at the end of the season. But he is a big, powerful guy who's what they need at left tackle. Because, no offense to Quessenberry, but he's not a starting left tackle caliber player in the NFL anymore. Might have been once, but not anymore. So, KOC was also talking about self-inflicted things on offense, which is bad reads on the offensive line, like when a running back's trying to make a cut through a hole or get around the tackles or whatever, or quarterback mistiming a play or misjudging throwing it over somebody. Vikings have been doing that, and they did that a lot this last week. So if they can correct that and things get back to the way they were, and they just play football like they were, just go out there and play football, and maybe script more than 15 plays. I know that's kind of a big ask, I think, but is it possible? Maybe script 15 and then script another 10 to just throw out at the beginning of the second half, just try and get some momentum. We'll have to wait and see. The O-line wasn't bad last week. Obviously, Darisaw, he's done for the year. But Cam Robinson coming in filled that up pretty well. They only gave up 3 sacks. I did see that Reisner was taking some first-team reps in practice this week, so he could be taking over for Brandel or Ingram, and I guess it would probably be Ingram when he's fully back. I don't know if I think he's still listed as questionable, or maybe they took that off of him. I didn't see. I'd have to go back and check. But obviously some moving parts on the offensive line now, so we'll have to see how things mesh, to see how much Robinson's actually going to play this week. I'm guessing he will play for sure. I don't know if he'll play the whole game or if they'll limit just to give him some reps to watch. I don't know if that's a thing for offensive tackles in the NFL. It probably is, but still, I do expect him to suit up and play. Sam Darnold last week, 18 for 25, 240 yards, threw 2 touchdowns. it was okay. It was fine. I'd like us to throw a little bit more again. 25 passes, especially. I mean, yeah, there would have been a few more passes. It probably would have been over 30 had things gone differently. Probably, you know, probably would have been 30, 31 passing attempts in that game. But we'll never know. Stop dwelling on it. I need to go back to it. I said I wouldn't. Running back, Aaron Jones, 19 carries, 58 yards. Nothing great. 2 catches for 37 yards. That was awesome. So combined for 95 yards. Doing his thing. He's being a presence. He's getting his job done. He's making plays. He's doing what we need him to do. Chandler Akers combined for 0 yards on 0 carries. So yeah, that's just they're there. Break glass in case of emergency, guys. Is at this point. Aside from maybe a spell here and there, I don't see either of them really doing a whole lot or getting a lot of opportunities to do anything. So we'll just have to monitor. We'll have to wait and see. I think it'll also come down to like schemes and who we're playing against. I don't see a reason to change things up a lot for the upcoming battle, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Wide receivers last week, Jefferson, 8 catches on 9 targets, 115 yards. Second week in a row, Addison has fewer targets and catches than Jalen Naylor. Addison, 3 targets, 2 catches, 22 yards. Naylor, 2 catches on 4 targets. So more targets for Naylor the second week in a row. I like that they're still using Naylor. He's good, but Addison needs to get more work. It can't all just be JJ. It can't all just be throw the ball up to the best wide receiver in the league. Because if you're just going to do that, then they're just going to double cover him all day, and then you got somebody else who's sitting over here like, why can't you throw me the ball? Just need to continue. We need Addison to get more targets, especially when we need to come back from a deficit. And then there was that Sherfield touchdown. That was nice too. It was nice to see him get the ball. 10 yards. His one catch of the game was 1 target of the game. 10-yard touchdown. Tight ends. Josh Oliver scored a touchdown. 30 yards receiving on 2 catches. Munt had a catch for 10 yards. But the thing we want to know about now, TJ Hockenson is fully off the injury report. He's going to make his debut on Sunday. Yes. It's going to be good. Now we've got an extra weapon in the offense. So it's not just Jefferson. It's not just Addison. It's not just Jones. Now it's Hockenson too. It's just having so many different options to filter those passes out to. Teams can't afford to double cover people anymore. If you got all 3 of those guys, Jefferson, Addison, Hockenson, running a route, you can't double cover any of them because you double cover one and the other one's probably open. I was saying it earlier in the year. I said it a couple weeks ago. I said it the last week. I've been saying it to people whenever I get a chance. TJ Hockenson might have been the greatest pick in all fantasy football drafts this year. Yeah, he hasn't played a snap yet, but he's going to come in and he's going to do his thing because we know what TJ Hockenson can do. I just get giddy thinking about it. But TJ Hockenson is going to get in there. He's going to get targets. Probably going to cut down the Naylor targets. But, or we're just going to throw the ball 40 times a game, which I'm not saying is a bad thing in certain cases. But, yes, Hockenson is back. The crew is ready to roll. Will Reichert, 2 for 2 and 2 for 2. Attaboy. Keep it rolling. Ryan Wright, my favorite punter, 50.3 yards per punt, and one of them was 61 yards out of his 3 punts. Dude's good. It's very important to have a skilled punter back there. Okay, let's talk about the matchup with the Colts. This will be the 28th meeting all time between the teams. Indy won 6 of the last 7. With that one Vikings win. Y'all know it. 2022. 39-36 after the Vikings were trailing 33-0. The funniest thing about that too is the coaching staff, or not the coaching staff, the referee team for that game, same guys we had last week. And if you remembered that game, if you were watching it, I watched most of the first half and turned it off. And I'm glad I did. I left it off after that, actually, because I didn't want to jinx them. But same referee team from last week that we had in that game. And if you remember correctly, there was a couple times when Stephon Gilmore was playing for the Colts that game, a couple blatant pass interference penalties that were just, the referee stood there, watched it, and said, "Nah, I'm good. You're fine." The first half of that game was an absolute nightmare. It was absolute nightmare fuel for anybody who worries about the health of their favorite teams, favorite players. The last thing I'm going to say on that officiating staff, those referees, you should all go find new jobs. That's my official stance on it. And then we're done. So, back to the matchup. Colts are coming off of a loss, 23-20 against Houston, in Houston. Anthony Richardson, I really, really, really was hoping they'd let him be the starter for one more week. Really, really do. For those of you who might not know, that last game, they were on a drive. It was a play. They did a play. Richardson taps his helmet, which is a universal sign for I need to come off the play or off the field for a play or more. Goes over to the sideline. They put in Flacco to play quarterback for a play or whatever, and he just kind of sat there on the sideline and then was back in the next time they got the ball. Came out after the game that said that he got tired. Oh gosh, that man has totally destroyed his NFL career on his own, and I feel sorry for him. But I don't, because you did it to yourself. But now Flacco gets to start, and Flacco is a more dangerous quarterback. 39, I believe. Same draft class as Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, actually. They both ran the combine together. Both same rookie class. So, but yeah, Flacco, his last start, he threw for 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that was a couple weeks ago. He makes every single aspect of the passing game better because he's a comfortable, strong pocket quarterback with a cannon for an arm. I mean, maybe not as much of a cannon anymore, but it's still a strong arm. He throws a deep ball, which is what the Colts offensive or the wide receivers are really good at taking. I mean, if Anthony Richardson, well, we'll just get to that at the end. We'll come back to that. Let's finish talking about players. Stay on task. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the NFL. 20 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown last week. Josh Downs, I think, is the biggest threat for the Vikings in the passing game coming up. He was targeted 9 times last week. Obviously, different quarterback with a less than 45% completion percentage. Only caught 4 balls, but turned into 109 yards and a touchdown. The Vikings are going to need to try and cap that. And it's going to be tricky because Downs is quick and he's fast and he can get loose. He gets behind somebody and just goes. And then Flacco throws a ball up there. And if he hits him, it's probably a touchdown. But yeah, he's the one I'm worried about. And Michael Pittman, excellent receiver. He is going to get his targets. He's going to make catches. He's just a big, sure-handed wide receiver who just kind of flukily or coincidentally just doesn't end up scoring touchdowns all that often, which I don't know. Just a weird thing that happens to be a fact. And then the tight ends for the Colts, they've got a few different tight ends that they throw in here. I like Mo Alley Cox. I've liked him for a while. He's a huge man. He'll make TJ Hockenson look normal size. But yeah, he caught 4 passes last week, 41 yards. And I believe in a previous game against the Vikings, he had like 3 catches for like 140 yards or something. Just, I don't know. He's not super athletic, but he's big and he's athletic for his size and he's got hands. And the fact that they don't throw to him more often is just insane, in my opinion. But yeah, Mo Alley Cox, something the Vikings need to game plan for on defense. The Colts defense last week, they had 2 sacks on 9 quarterback hits. They defended 2 passes, no interceptions. I think there was a fumble recovery, maybe not. Their defense, they've allowed the 7th most passing yards in the league, 1,943, and the 2nd most rushing yards in the league, 1,215. And that's a clip of 4.5 yards per carry, which is somewhere around like 8, 9, 10 overall. But still, it's not a great defense, but they do have their strong points. Zaire Franklin leading the league in tackles, 87 on the season already. He gets around. He's kind of like our version of Ivan Pace or Van Ginkel. Like, yeah, he's that's his style. He's going to be everywhere he needs to be. He's going to make plays. He's going to make tackles. DeForest Buckner, 9 years. This is his 9th year in the NFL. Really, really good, strong defensive line rusher. And over the last 7 seasons, he's averaging 8.5 sacks a season. I think he's only got 2.5 so far, so he's got some catching up to do. But yeah, he had a 12-sack season a few years ago. Dude is a monster, and if Cam Robinson's not up to taking him on his own, they're going to have to double him, and then there's going to be issues with somebody else. And another guy that I look at when I was looking at the different players for the Colts, trying to identify. I might butcher this. It's a tough name. Dio Odengbo, I believe, is how they pronounce it. He's already got 3 sacks on the season. He's hit the quarterback, like 2 times or 6 times in the last 3 games. So he's getting in there. He's making plays. He's disrupting the offense. If they have to double up on Buckner, then Odengbo is going to be a threat, a serious threat that the Vikings are going to have, that Sam Darnold's going to have to watch out for, because he's coming for him. He's going to be coming for him. Like we already said, no Cashman this week again. Pretty much everybody else. There's another Vikings player that I know is out, and also we don't know about Caleb Evans, but that's pretty much special teams issues there. On the Colts side of the ball, they're missing 2 offensive tackles. One guy, Raymond, who started all year, he's going to miss the game. He's in concussion protocol. And then Braden Smith, another of their tackles, has got a knee issue. So they're missing 2 offensive linemen. So this should be a feast week for the Vikings to get sacks. They should get at least 4 sacks. Flacco can't move in the pocket. He's never been fast, and he's 39 years old. Take advantage of that. Make him sweat. Make him have to run. All right. Let's wrap this up. Let's do the betting. We'll do the fantasy, and we'll say goodbye. But first, let's do the betting. Right now, the money line, as of last night, the money line was minus 250 Vikings. Obviously, everybody's putting it on them. I think the money was like over 90% people betting the Vikings to win. So that number could, get worse. The the spread is Vikings minus 5.5. I would feel so much more comfortable picking one of the side or the other with Flacco, I feel less comfortable. But and the fact that the offensive line looks more destroyable, if that's the word. I think I'm going to take the over, or yeah, I'll take the Vikings minus their 5.5. So I think they're going to win by more than 5.5. The over/under is 46.5. Over on that one. We're either going to boat race them, and they're going to get some garbage time, or it's going to be a little closer for around the middle of the game until the Vikings pull away at the end. So I'm taking the over 46.5 points. But either way, I don't doubt the Vikings will win. Not at all. Absolutely smash that. And it really came down to who the quarterback is, Flacco versus Richardson. Flacco, like I said before, is more capable. He's smarter. He's more accurate thrower. Richardson's got that ability that he's quick, he's fast, he can make plays happen with his feet. The problem is he can't pass the ball. Had he been the starter, I would have said, okay, the Vikings are going to win by 30. But he's not. So anytime touchdown, I'm going to say TJ Hockenson, in his debut, scores a touchdown. The Colts have allowed a touchdown scored by a tight end in 4 of their last 6 games. Bank on it. TJ Hockenson touchdown happening on Sunday. Fantasy Outlook. Justin Jefferson, gotta. Addison, gotta. Reichert, gotta if you got him. Jones, you gotta. Taylor, you gotta. Downs and Pittman, start them both. I know. Like my wife doesn't like starting Vikings or players against their Vikings, but if she had either of those players on her team, I would insist. Like, start Josh Downs, start Michael Pittman. Downs is probably good for a touchdown, maybe for 100 yards. Pittman's good for like 6, 7, 8 receptions, which could be 70, 80, 90 yards. Dart throws. Darnold's a dart throw for me because I don't think we're going to need to pass as much. But he's a high-end dart throw. Like, I know I'm starting him in a couple of different fantasy leagues, but I'm also benching him in another. So Hockenson, or the defense, is if you got the Vikings defense, you're probably using them. Plain and simple. Hockenson, if you got him, he might be a little bit limited on the catches, but I think he ends up with that touchdown, like I said before. But I could see him getting like 3 catches, 4 catches for like 35 yards, and one of them happens to be a touchdown, which would be a good fantasy day, especially for tight ends this year. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Hawkinson's going to win fantasy football leagues. Just you watch. Flacco, you could start him if you need to in a pinch. I think there's going to be a lot of passes, and it's just going to depend on how well the Vikings secondary defends those pass catchers. Like I said, I said it again. Downs all over to the play. He's available. He's got the ability to turn one catch into a huge play. So that's that. Let's finish up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for checking in with the Undroppables and the Uncovered. Thank you for the views and the comments and all that stuff. And I will see you all next time. After we cheer on the Vikings to another win. See ya.